guardians. And from that upper world, then they will come to give us engagement. And what engagement? We will be servitor. I am to serve everything. That's my only way of access there, that they will grant me some service, give me entrance through service.
So we must have faith in the guardian.
Faith in the guardian.
In the higher conception of the brain, that there is consideration, there is affection, there is judgment, there is grace, mercy in the land of my guardian. There is enough to have real faith in such, not an imaginary philosophic faith.
There, Guru Maharaj is saying, it is enough to have real faith in such things. He's listing all of the qualities of your guardians. And then Guru Maharaj is saying, not a philosophical faith, from like understanding from the scripture or something, but that faith will be with us, inside us.
Practical.
There.
In the land of my guardian, there is enough.
Little rewind.
To have real faith in such, not an imaginary philosophic faith, but practical. Theoretical, philosophical understanding of do.
Okay, anyway, maybe I end it here today. We got through 3 minutes of our 6 minutes, because I think perhaps you're not able really to hear Gurudev or Srila Guru Maharaj so much, perhaps his intonation, etc. However, why I play it? Because the very life of devotion is faith, and faith is the required thing for surrender. Without faith, how can we surrender if we don't have any trust in our guardian? And hence, guess what? We need to have faith in the guardianship of the Lord. Then we can have our self-surrender this way. This order is given in BBBC. So we are going through these things with Upadeśāmṛta, with BBBC, the 6 limbs of surrender, etc. And it is, everything we're doing is to do what? It's to wake up our natural faith in the upper world and the things which are favorable to that. Then we will cultivate that and leave aside what's unfavorable, like anything. Like in sport, people who want to be sportsmen, people who want to be good, in their education, they'll focus, they'll take their education seriously, they'll do the exercises seriously. Sportsmen will take their training seriously, learn from others how to defeat the opposition. But our opposition is not other devotees. It's not that kind of a defeat. Our opposition is Maya, our bad instructions from the mind, the illusion, etc. So this is to hear from Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, because we can. Mystically, for the first time in thousands of years, unless you were a yogi, you would not be able to hear Guru Maharaj's words from those days. So, as I repeatedly say, not to neglect the opportunity, the super opportunities that we have for hearing, remembering, chanting, sharing. And what does it mean in this age to remember and chant? To share. And this was very much Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's intention, that we will not keep things for ourselves. Oh, we've learned something, oh great. But that we pass it on, and that by passing it on, by sharing with others, by showing the direction to others, then we are also getting some benefit from that, if you like. Not that we're doing things selfishly, but it's our duty, not our selfish thing. I'm doing that so I will get something. When we've got something valuable, we want to share it with those who we see are in a situation that we were in before, not knowing which way to go, actually, unconsciously not knowing which way to go. Just like following, and you go to school, go to university, get a job, all these things which is expected, or was expected when I was young. Anyway, this is a little reinforcement. Why are we going through Upadeśāmṛta? It is for this kind of purpose. Why are we learning things like the 4 Chatushloki and the principal meaning of the mantras that we chant, for the pranam mantras to Vaishnava, to Guru, to Mahaprabhu? There's a reason. We're trying to do good things for ourselves and for others. Govinda, Govinda. Billy, does that sound like a good idea? Yes, okay. So let's try to do good for ourselves and good for others. How did we do from last week? So maybe Govinda Nandini did it. Tell me, just remind me, up to which sloka did we read last week? I suspect it was sloka. You tell me which sloka we got to.
Yeah, it was 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, so we did 1, 2, 3, the good guidance. Then 4, 5, 6, Vaishnava, Vaishnava, Vaishnava. Okay, wonderful. So, do I ask? I don't want to put everyone on the spot. And a devotee said that I should make a program where we do have like written questions and answers. I said, Prabhu, I cannot do like that. We don't want it to be that kind of a back to basics course. We want it to be that, we catch what we can and we, go on. And actually, Govinda Nandini, she's made a page, which have you made it public in the chat? A Google Docs page, which is a good summary of what we've been through for you to revisit.
Yeah, so that is pinned in the Facebook group. I can post the link to it here in the chat if you'd like.
Yes, do so, because then as we mention it, it's right here. Everyone can see it. But really, you see, we want to revisit these things, keep them going in our mind. And I don't want to do pen and paper, quizzes in this way, but we do want to ourselves have a pen and paper in our heart. I still have my pen and paper, by the way. Actually, it's not a pen and paper. It's a pen. I have to admit, it's a pencil and paper. And interestingly, here it's morning. Look, this is the book. This is my notebook, given by the humor of the devotees. I don't know if it's meant to be me or not, but anyway, everything we have is by the grace of the devotees. So this is what they gave me. All right. So, oh, I see. In the chat box, it's coming. Yes, I understand. Okay, sorry. I saw a message and was trying to see without my specs what the message was saying. Hare Krishna. All right. So very briefly, can somebody tell me, and who I'm confident can answer is Praneshwari Didi. Can you tell me the essence of verse 1, 2, and 3? Just the subject. What is the subject of verse 1 of Upadeśāmṛta? But you have to unmute your mic.
Maharaj, I can only read. I don't know it by heart.
Okay.
I can only give you the translation.
Oh, yes. No, that's what I say. Essence means what was the theme of verse 1 of the Upadeśāmṛta?
I know this.
Yes, Prema Sundari Didi.
Including that, let me remember, is Vasha vegan, Manasa Koda vegan, Udaro pasta vegan. I forget the last line. But it's about controlling. Yes, if somebody has control in her, for example, in my mind, I have control in my mind, my mouth, and my stomach, and all my body, is possible to get other devotees around the world. I suppose this is the meaning of the sloka. Is correct, yes. Maharaj?
Yes, it's saying you have to be self-controlled. And it's listing six items to control. That way, and it says shishyat. In other words, you can teach. You can actually teach, not just theory. But as everything is some like heart transmission. But there's some prerequisite. We have to be civilized to some degree, not just animals. Animals talking in the field, what are they talking about? But the humans, I saw a clip. We watch happily Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev. We watch their videos. I saw Srila Prabhupada with a lecturer, university lecturer recently. I mean, I saw him on the clip, the video. And really, he's so tolerant. But the university lecturer, he was like so sort of strict and only has his own conception. But then Srila Prabhupada, just by his purity, then after a few questions and answers, he's coming back to the professor was in sociology, how to improve others. And Srila Prabhupada is coming back to the fact, you have to improve yourself first. How can someone who's eating meat and doing all these things tell what is the proper conduct for others? So control of the tongue. In this way. But Srila Prabhupada coming to these very points and saying to a university lecturer who is supposedly trying to do good for others and talking about others, first you have to do good for yourself, then you can give that to others. Yes, anyhow, Prema Sundari Devirati, well done. Number 1, 6 senses to control. Number 2, 6. Who's going to put up their hand and say? You all know we've been through all of these things. There's 6 things which will destroy our devotion, which are unhelpful for our devotion. So we don't have to say everyone right now, but the first of the verses is the 6 senses to control. The second are the 6 things which will be unfavorable for devotion, bad. Then guess what the next verse is? You don't have to guess because you learned it. The 6 good things which will assure the success of our devotion. That was verse 1, 2, 3. So this is theme. Theme means a theme. I'm not sure I know another word. the sum and substance, summary of what is in those verses. 6 senses to control, 6 bad things which will destroy our devotion, 6 good things which will be very helpful for our devotion. Oh, look, a Vaishnava. I'm being joined by a Vaishnava. The sun must be coming. It must be a good day.
Well, I heard there was a sadhu in the neighborhood.
I'm making a lot of noise. It's very quiet here. They can probably hear me in the village nearby. Jai Shri Paramananda Prabhu ki Jai. So we are revision of the 6 of the Upadeśāmṛta, the first 3 verses. So should I ask Paramananda Prabhu the summary, the gist of the first 3 verses? I think I can ask him. Paramananda Prabhu, what is the gist? What's the summary of the first verse of Upadeśāmṛta?
All right.
6 something. I'll give you a clue.
Yes. Well, the first verse, there will be a description of certain urges to control.
Okay, good. The 6 urges to control is the first verse.
The second verse,
yes.
There will be a description of qualities and certain moods of devotee to use in our life as devotees, starting from enthusiasm and so on.
Oh, now are we going to give breakfast? Oh no, I'm his guest, so I can't stop his breakfast. It's 6 bad things. Oh, am I wrong? Okay, everybody, am I wrong, or who is right and who is wrong?
So, first verse, Dadati Pratikrihnati Gukyama.
I'm going to cheat.
No, that's not. Vacha Vegam is the first.
Vacha
Vegam, Manasa, Krodha Vegam, Jihva Vegam, Udaraprast Vegam, Tam Vegam, Yovisha Heta, Zira, Tarvama, Tivam, Prithvi, Chashisha.
Oh, Sanskrit scholar.
Utsaha Nishcharyat. Am I mistaken?
I'm asking you. I'm asking them, but no one's confirming who's right. Who is right?
Mars, you were right. He is skipping the second. The second is the 6 volts. Yep.
How bad is that?
Well, you weren't here for our back-to-back debates class last week, so you're forgiven.
Okay.
6 unfavorable things
All
is the
right.
second
6 unfavorable things.
Yeah.
Asascha prajalpaniyamagraha jana sangashcha laulyamcha sadhvir bhakti vinashati. 6 things that are destroying our bhakti.
What does vinashati mean?
To destroy.
There you are. Destroy. Not only, they're not very good. They'll destroy our devotional
completely.
service.
Vinashati is actually means completely to destroy. Then
yes. Then the 6 favorable things. There you are. Now you can see.
Sadhvir bhakti prasidhiti. The things that enhancing our devotional life. The certain moods are described, starting from enthusiasm. So 3 verses. First, things to control, urges to control, things that destroy devotional service, and moods that enhance devotional service.
Okay. We've got here.
Okay. You have to give me a break. I just woke up. All right?
No. For all of us. I'm not singling you out. It's just that you are physically here. We're all physically here. We've joined together. Sometimes we're coming to a temple and then devotees are joining with us, like when we're in Abkhazia. I'm not quite sure where we've joined together today. We have to think Praneshwari's home. We've all come to her home today, sitting in her living room and going through these
things. Very welcome. Prasadam is served after the class.
Okay, very promising. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 we covered, and 4, 5, 6. So first 3 verses are 6 things, 6 things, 6 things. Now 4, 5, 6, just to remind ourselves, again, 6 things, 3 things, 1 thing. So, and they're all to do with the Vaishnavas. So, verse 4, 5, 6, Vaishnavas. Verse 4, this is revision, by the way, we went through these last week. And so verse 4 was the 6 ways of, okay, somebody tell me, 6 ways of, but you have to
offering and accepting and reveal the minds of other persons of the Guru. Similar, I don't know, but this is correct pronunciation. Interchange is correct word in English. Intercambio is in Spanish. What is the correct word in English?
We can't hear you, Govinda Nandini.
Exchange.
Interchange.
Intercambio es la
It says priti, loving exchanges between the Vaishnavas. Right, so 6 loving exchanges between the Vaishnavas. Then verse 7 is 3 things. The 3 ways we give honor to the 3, like essentially 3 different categories of Vaishnavas who are chanting the name. So 6 ways of loving interaction, 3 ways that we're giving respect to the devotees, which are not in Sanskrit, or Sanskrit if you like, but in English.
Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshastistik pranatibhikcha bhajantamisham shushrushaya bhajanam vigyam ananyam anyam dan nirdandi shunya hridam ipsita sangalabdha. So 3 categories of the Vaishnavas. The one who is chanted, even once chanted the holy name, or favorable towards the holy name, is to be served with the mind. In the mind, you can offer him obeisances and respect. The one who is properly initiated and engaged in devotional service should be offered obeisances too. And the person who is the topmost Vaishnava, who is free of envy, who is not envious to anyone, the best friend of all living beings, that Vaishnava, you must accept shelter immediately and serve him with your full heart.
Jai. In Sanskrit and in English. We don't have any Russian speakers with us today, but he can give it in Russian too. All right. So this is still revision. So 4, 5, 6. 4 is 6 ways of loving relation, 3 categories of devotees and how we give our respect to them. And now the next verse, 4, 5, 6. So verse 6 is one thing, not to see any fault in the devotees. And to make this one point, Rupa Goswami is making strong emphasis. Not to see any fault in the devotee. Just like we do not notice, like the mud and anything else that's in the Ganges. When we go to the river Ganges to bathe, those who are little awake to their good fortune, oh, this is Ganges water. And they will only notice, they'll bathe in the Ganges and only think of the Ganga, the water that's washed the lotus feet of the Lord. So one thing, essentially. So the Vaishnavas can purify us. Don't notice the man or the woman, the person. You notice the Vaishnava part. All right, so we're all up to date. Would you like to say the Sanskrit for that?
Last verse? The last one.
Yes. Oh, well.
Drish.
Yes, last one, because you said the other one.
Drishtak svabhava, Dirishtak svabhava. Moment. Drishtak svabhava janitaya vapushashta dosha na prakritasya iha bhakta janasya pashit gangabasam nakalabud budapena panka brahma dravatam apagachati niradharma. That's the verse.
All right. We are very fortunate to have Paramanandhu with us today. We can really show, yes, it is revision, because the fortunate souls learnt this in early days coming into Krishna consciousness, and by revision then we keep this in the mind. I have to admit, I didn't learn these fluently. I was a bad student, I suppose, but I can say one thing. I really, when I first joined into Krishna consciousness, means I went on the, not back to basics, but the ISKCON back to course. They call it, in England, they call it the back to course. And it was difficult to adjust, because I was really coming from the working, the living world, the actual world where people, have a job and do all sorts of things. So I was coming from that world, but when we came to the temple, there were some rather damaged souls from drugs and this, that, and the other, who had joined the temple. And it's a little difficult when you're sharing the room and sharing everything, 24 hours a day, and, some adjustment. But I saw how, especially one, like quite damaged person, you can say, but he was so quick to learn the shlokas. And I thought, yes, look at that. They've got qualities. Maybe so many other things, but so many qualities are there. And actually that taught me from a very early time to see the good, see what others have got that we don't have.
But I do have to say something about that.
Something being?
There is one thing is to learn, is to memorize something. You just use your brain. And let's say your brain is good enough, you can memorize things very quickly. That's one thing. It's good to remember, no doubt about it. But we should not forget to use it in our life, what we memorize. That should be our daily practice. Not keeping it here all the time, but transferring it into your heart and applying it in your life. So that's what Maharaj is doing. Some devotees, they may not remember the Sanskrit, but they remember the gist of that, which is the most important. Sanskrit is maybe important when you're giving some public talk in India, because they can respect you for that. And I did some preaching in India, and we were quite often meeting different people, politicians, famous actors, musicians, we rich people. So we had to learn their culture. And among that, we learned Sanskrit shlokas, and they would appreciate that a lot. But really, the main thing is to apply it in your life.
And at the very beginning, we played an excerpt of Guru Maharaj that we actually played yesterday. Because you see, some of these things, they strike us very much. We played that excerpt of Guru Maharaj saying about how we want to imbibe real love. And that's coming from the upper world and not theoretical love. It's not that we're just trying to learn things out of
no amount of knowledge can cause that.
All right. So now we're all up to date. So 1, 2, 3 verses about control and what's good, what's bad and what's good. Then 4, 5, 6 about the Vaishnavas, 6 qualities, the 6 ways of loving interaction, the 3 categories of devotees, how we give their honor to them, and then not to see fault in devotees. So 4, 5, 6. Now 7 and 8, 2 more wonderful slokas. So now perhaps, have you got 7 in the chat box here? Or are we on the internet?
We
Verse
do
number
already
7.
on the chat.
Okay, very good.
Posted.
So you're ahead of us. All right, so here is verse number 7. So I think the best person the best person here to read the Sanskrit is Paramananda Prabhu. Oh, I shouldn't give you the Sanskrit to read. I'm covering over the Sanskrit.
Syat Krishna nama charitari sita pavidya pito patapta rasanasya narochikono kint adarat anudinam kalu saiva jushta swadvikramad bhavatitad gadamula hantri.
And by the way, today we're just doing 2 verses. And this is one of them. And they're both so hopeful, so clear, right to the point. So please, somebody else can read the translation. You all have this in front of you. So perhaps just now, I could ask Billy. I know you're at the computer, right? So back to Billy from Virginia. Could you read that translation for us, kindly?
The sugar candy of Krishna's names, pastimes, and so forth is not relishable to a tongue severely afflicted by the jaundice of ignorance, alas. Certainly, however, when it is daily honored with faith, this candy gradually becomes sweet and eradicates the disease.
And in Srila Prabhupada's translation, he says not only like eradicates the disease, he points out there sort of in the translation, which will come up in the purport, by the way, here presently in the commentaries, but eradicates the disease from the root. It's not just taking away the symptom of the disease, uproots the disease by this process. So this is such a, can I say, sweet verse. It's giving the analogy of sugarcane and jaundice. Jaundice is that one kind of hepatitis where people's eyes go yellow. And it happens, we see it, it happens in India, it happens in places where the water gets contaminated a lot.
To me a few times.
Oh, it happened to Paramananda Prabhu.
I can confirm everything sweet tastes bitter.
Yeah, so when you have jaundice, everything sweet tastes bitter. But the medicine for jaundice, how to get better, is you need to take sweet things, even though, it doesn't taste good. But by taking that medicine of the sweet sugar candy, etc., then gradually the tongue starts to, after some time, the tongue starts to say, this is sweetness. I'm tasting sweetness again. They're not giving me, I thought what they're giving me, saying it is a sugar candy, I was thinking it was bitter. But now I understand, with my health coming back, I understand it is sweet and tasty. So this analogy given for the holy name, in the beginning it may seem like a bit of a labor to chant the holy name, etc. But gradually, if we take every day carefully the holy name. Then in Srila Prabhupada's translation, he says, it is a great wonder that we will be cured of our disease, we will get good taste, and our hrid rogam, the disease of the heart, will be uprooted and gone automatically. So this is such a positive verse for us. The holy name, it is all important for us. This is the Kali Yuga, where the name is, guess what? No other way, no other way, no other way for our deliverance than the holy name. By the way, no other way for our deliverance except for coming through Nitai and Gora, Guru and Gauranga. There are other no other ways, means without association, without connection, without seva, without sincerity, lots of things, but the holy name is the central point throughout everything. So, Rupa Goswami, as a servitor of Mahaprabhu, presenting Mahaprabhu's conception, and this verse, very important for us. It's encouraging us for us to take seriously our chanting, etc. Okay, that's verse 6. As I say, we're just doing 2 verses today. And verse 7 in Srila Prabhupada's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 8. Okay, so verse 8 is then the verse which begins in Srila Prabhupada's translation. He begins verse 8 by saying, the essence of all advice of the scriptures, like the essence of all advice. So let us see here what the translation is. Oh, maybe you'd like to read the Sanskrit from memory, from the Sanskrit. Let's hear from Paramananda Prabhu.
No, I don't think I remember the whole sloka.
Can you see it? I mean,
Samnama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtanano Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya Tishtan Vrajetat Anuragi Jananugami. Oh, Tishtam Vrajetat Anuragi Jananugami. Tishtam Vrajetat Anuragi Jananugami Kalam Nayet Akilam. I think something is missing there. Nayet Akilam iti Upadeśāmṛta. See, I have to memorize this one.
All right. And can you read the
Yes.
Okay, Paramananda Prabhu will read the translation this time. Billy, you did a good job on the last one, but we have our VIP guests. We don't always have Paramananda Prabhu with us. So
ignore whatever Maharaj is saying.
Let us
about me.
Utilize
and
his
listen
capacities.
to Rupa Goswami. Engage the tongue and mind in a gradual process of complete glorification and constant remembrance of Krishna's names, forms, pastimes, and so forth. Reside in Vraja and spend all your time as a follower of those who have deep attachment to Krishna. This is the essence of all instructions.
There. In a nutshell, as they say, all put into a nutshell. So, do you have Srila Prabhupada's? Maybe I can take this away now. Dawn has come, so I've been using the tablet as light, but now the sun is coming. So, what use is a tablet as a light when the sun comes up? What use is a glowworm in the daytime or a candle in the daytime? And all right, do we have Srila Prabhupada's translation handy? Oh, okay, so maybe Govinda Nandini did. Can you read the translation for us with your microphone with your microphone on? Yes.
Yes. Okay. I just posted the link to it too. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Vraja, Golok, Vrindavan, Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service.
Wonderful. I'm only asking that because I'm familiar with Srila Prabhupada's translation.
Very similar.
Yes, very similar, no doubt. Very similar. So here we are. We need to follow in the footsteps of the great teachers, which was already being given as one of our favorable items to do. And also, incidentally, leaving the association of non-devotees, etc. All those things is already implied there. And 24 hours a day, or did it say 25 hours a day? I'm not sure. Then we need to keep ourselves always absorbed in the processes of devotional service. And in this way, make our life perfect. And this is the essence of all advice. So, I'm handicapped. I need a handicap sticker today because I didn't bring my spectacles. You can just give a little stress the important points of this verse because you've got the words and everything right here.
The essence of all advice is one should utilize one's full time,
25 hours a day.
Okay, 25 hours a day in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name.
That's why we learned at the very beginning 10 offenses to the holy name, the 4 namas to the holy name, because we need to nicely do these things. Yes.
Then the Lord's transcendental form, the qualities and eternal pastimes of the Lord.
And this is why we have a morning program and an evening program to keep those steadily. Because it's also saying gradually. I think the word in here somewhere is gradually. It's not in one moment it's going to happen.
Yes,
of course, rarely it may, but
gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. It is gradual.
Yes.
And actually Krishna, when he appeared in the form of Kapila Dev, he also stressed this particular point, that our progress have to be natural and gradual. So the word mentioned in that verse is anukramishyati. Anukram means a small step, one step at a time. So this is what Kapila Dev is telling to his mother as an instructions of her spiritual, in her spiritual life. So one step at a time, gradually. Then, in this way, one should reside in Vraja. What is Vraja, Maharaj?
Vraja is not a physical place. As if you read the commentaries of Guru Maharaj's, of our Chaitanya Saraswati Math book of Guru Maharaj and Srila Saraswati Thakur, then also if you read the commentary of Srila Prabhupada in the ISKCON version, everywhere we're being stressed that Braja, Vrindavan is not a physical place, as we will also come to hear about Radha Kund and Shyama Kund, these places. They're not geographically that you can buy a ticket and go there. They are wherever that mood, the consciousness of Braja is taking place. Hence, the temples where the deity is being worshipped, the devotional programs are going on. These are the places to reside, non-different from Braja. And we have experience of being in India and many places in the world. Really, wherever there's a clean, hearty program taking place, that is the substantial place where we love to be. And it may not be necessarily always India or, related directly that, oh, we have to be in this place in India, that place in India. We see many things going on, which is like very difficult to digest.
It's gonna be Billy's apartment or a house he's in.
It can be Billy's apartment, yes. Oh, but today by the way, we said we've all come to Praneshwari.
Oh, where the Praneshwari?
We've come to her home today.
There is no doubt that place has already been a Vraj for some time.
And she's already arranged prasadam for us all.
So the next advice is one should reside in Vraja and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees.
Yeah. Always. And coming back to our beginning point that we started today, playing that short excerpt, we played 3 minutes of that we played. We played this ourselves yesterday evening because It's so sweet and so nice. And by the way, that whole talk is wonderful. Not only 6 minutes, but I did select like 6 minutes, which is so important for our basic understanding. We have to be true to ourselves. We go there as a servitor, but we can't just walk in ourselves. Oh, I'm coming to serve. We need to have the connection of somebody who's already there to engage us in service. Hence our parampara, the Guru Vaishnava.
Then one should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service.
There. Good idea. Hare Krishna.
Very good idea. Very good.
Oh, Ramananda.
Thank you.
Ramananda Prabhu in San Jose. Actually, not from San Jose. He's from India. He's from India, living in San Jose.
No, my frame is from India. I am not from India.
Your frame is from India.
Oh, look at that. Right.
India is also virtual. See, India is also divine.
Sorry, Ram? Sorry? Ram, what did you say? Sorry, I missed it.
I said India is also conceptual, like a Vrindavan, Golok. Same way, India is also conceptual. Mahaprabhu Gurudev said, Janam hoye Bharat Bhumi se kar par upakar. So, Gurudev was telling in one lecture that we should help others, preach, like you telling, yeah.
Yes, taking the message from there.
So today we added just 2 verses. Last week we did 6 verses, which was maybe a little bit of a big bite. But this week only 2 verses. And the 2 verses were the sugar candy, analogy of the sugar candy in jaundice. Carefully, great wonder that just by carefully chanting the holy names every day, our disease is cured. We taste nicely as we're meant to be tasting. In other words, Krishna Prema, love of God. And our disease is uprooted, gone. We don't have to do a separate endeavor there. That's the first verse. Then the second verse, the essence of all advice. 26 hours a day. Engage in the carefully chanting the holy name, the glories, etc. of the Lord, and rendering service under the guidance of Guru Vaishnava, associating with such great persons, following in their footsteps. They're wonderful verses, so encouraging for us. So just 2 verses this week. Oh, Ram, please turn off your microphone. Even the Vaishnava's cough is wonderful, but maybe not so public. Okay, thank you, Ram. And Rupanuga Prabhu, we saw your frame, we saw your form. Oh, we can see your form again. Oh, you're in the motor car, right? Not. Put your hands back on the steering wheel. I thought maybe you would like to say something to the devotees.
All I can say is Hare Krishna.
That sounds like a good thing to say. Rupanuga Prabhu, beautiful. All right. And Divya Shakti Devi Dasi. Divya Shakti Devi Dasi. She has such a history. I mean, to give her history, to write it down, my wrists would ache to write it all down. And Divya Shakti Devi, please just share some of your good association with us kindly.
Oh, Maharaj, don't do this to me. Anyway.
Divya Shakti.
Oh my gosh, you're such a beautiful show-off.
She is the embodiment of, almost, I would say, practically all those shlokas we've been learning. She was putting it to life and practicing it.
Ay, ay, ay. Oh my.
Oh, your mic.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah, your microphone is on again. It's off again. Divya Shakti, turn off your mic. I mean, turn on your mic. Yes, we can hear you now.
Oh, it's just enlightening to hear you all chanting these slokas. I've been following. I've just been incognito. So anyway, all glories to your beautiful service and enlivening all of us in service. And this is beautiful. It's great. And it's wonderful. And keep it up. I hope you never stop this. And we're praying that you can keep it going even though the pandemic stops, and just keep it going. Maharaj, you're just amazing and enlivening, you know.
Divya Shakti, we're asking you for advice.
I'm giving you advice.
Are you giving
Divya Shakti, the pandemic never stops. We all know that.
Yeah. After the pandemic, everyone's going to be eternal, right?
Yes, Maharaj, we'll be following in your footsteps, hopefully. We pray hard enough.
Hare Krishna. Anyway.
So what is advice? What is your advice, Divya Shakti Didi?
Well, you're just so amazing. You just like ramble off on all the verses for Ananda. You're just amazing. So steadiness, if you can be steady and faithful and sincere, and associating with devotees and taking shelter of the older devotees, those that are following. I think it's so important that we just don't go on our own and just think we know everything and try to do our own thing. But taking shelter of the Vaishnavas is so important, and having faith and sincerity, and, you know, just keep plugging on. That's all I can say. It's a long road. It's not so long for the sincere ones, so it's long for me. It's forever. Anyway, it's all beautiful, and there'll be some rough turns. It's like when you're riding a bicycle. There's always the mountains you have to go up, and then you go down and go up. You know, like when you're in the gym, they have that map of you bicycling. So that's what spiritual life is like that to me. Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes you're going down, but it's always a fight. You're just constantly keep moving. And so I think we need to just keep moving and keep an association of devotees. That's the main thing. And always take shelter of those that are inspiring us in our spiritual life. Hanker for that. We can hanker for that. Loyam, that's beautiful. And that's what we have to do. Anyway.
All right, Devi Shakti Didi, we can't see you, your frame, your form, but we can see you by hearing, as we are seeing the spiritual things we see by hearing. So we're happy to see you by hearing. This is a substantial association today.
And a beautiful advice.
And beautiful advice. And again, following that the same theme of it step by step. A baby doesn't become a teenager in a day. Oh, I gave my baby a huge meal today. Tomorrow he's going to be a teenager. No, you've got to go through the process. So we've got to take our baby steps, our children's steps, and all these things. But we, as we started at the beginning, we just have to have faith. I may be the only servitor, but everything is to be served. Nothing is for my service in the upper world. Do we have that faith? If we're not, we're a traitor to what is devotional service, because devotional service means I'm to give myself to everything, the soil, the trees, the people, all is senior to me. So a beautiful excerpt that we had this morning, and it's all on this theme of making our foundation proper. And Guru Maharaj said, if we have that faith, then from the upper plane, everything will be looked after for us. But without faith, then we don't have the visa. We're not qualified for the visa to enter that plane. So all these things are for building, and also not just technical faith, like, oh, in the scripture it says this, but the actual, by doing these things, the actual faith, the actual loving relationship comes. So this is our family, and this is why we're always happy to be with you all. And, oh, where did Rukmini go? Rukmini and Hridoy showed up for a short while. And Abhinava Sundar Prabhu, He's not showing his form because his boss is Rupanugaru, so he doesn't want to show his not doing his job properly, and now his working time in Australia. Oh, here he is. I've been busted.
I'm at work. I promise I'm at work. I promise. Rupanugaru, I promise. I'm working.
All right. So very good to see you all, and hopefully we've heard something from everybody this week. I was going to give Rukmini and Hridoy a little mention, but they came and went. They may be doing something because usually they do show the videos. So we know the world is a busy place. We all have duties to do, but let us do our duties Krishna-centered, Guru-centered, Vaishnava-centered, name-centered, Seva-centered, all these things. All right, dear devotees, now we'll end our meeting. We'll all take our seats in Praneshwari Didi's home.
How about Praneshwari Didi's breakfast?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. We're going to take our seat now in Praneshwari Didi's home, and we'll happily sit down with the banana leaves and await the muri and yogurt and gur, the molasses oil. And mustard oil.
The thing is that for you is after Ekadashi. And here the prasad is Ekadashi, it's still Ekadashi.
All right. And last Ekadashi, I gave away all the rest I had of Jagannath Prasadam. So usually we try to break Ekadashi with, if possible, I mean, if we're fortunate to have Jagannath Prasad. But, oh, maybe you have some. Acha. But my last Ekadashi breakfast, and we distributed amongst the devotees. There's never any loss in distribution. All right, dear devotees, all glories to our wonderful, super wonderful Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. All glories to our wonderful, super wonderful Srila Bhakti Rokha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. All glories to Bhagavan, Lion Guru, Singha Guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Lion outwardly to the atheists and the foolish, as soft as a lotus petal for the devotees. That's Guru Maharaj's description of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Vaga ki jai, Shri Rupa Goswami ki jai, Shri Upadeśāmṛtam ki jai, Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shri Prapana Jivanamritam ki jai, Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, all the assembled devotees ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari,
Bhakti Ranjan
Vancha
Madhusudan Maharaj
Kalpatarubhyascha, Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.